It's an industry already under huge strain. In April, Chinese-owned British Steel nearly collapsed and was only saved by a last-minute government takeover. Other plants in England haven't produced steel for nearly a year due to a lack of money to buy materials. With the US, the UK's second-largest steel market, Gareth Stace, who heads Industry Association UK Steel, says steel producers here are braced for even more uncertainty.
We are still paying 25% tariffs of all steel that goes onto the US market, and there is no end in sight of when those tariffs are going to be scrapped, because we still don't know. We still don't know the timetable, the criteria of getting that exemption, and the hoops we need to jump through, and whether all steel producers in the UK will be exempt or not.
Not only could that mean steel already halfway across the Atlantic is unprofitable by the time it arrives on America's east coast, cut-price steel from other countries initially destined for the US could be dumped in the UK at a steep discount. Foreign steel already meets 65% of UK steel demand, as British producers struggle to compete, not just with cheaper Asian and American products, but European ones too. Tata Steel's Tom Evans says the resulting overcapacity has become a perennial challenge for any steelmaker across the world.
We've got an overcapacity of about 500–600 million tonnes. Just to put that in perspective, the UK makes around 6–7 million tonnes of steel a year. So we're a drop in the ocean in terms of steel making, but that kind of overcapacity means that the pricing is really challenging, the trading conditions are really challenging for UK steelmakers.
Combined with the pressures of sky-high energy prices, last year Tata Steel closed its blast furnace and stopped making virgin steel in the UK entirely. That means it no longer turns iron ore into brand new steel. Instead, it will turn Britain's abundance of scrap steel into new products using an electric arc furnace.
We're quite fortunate in the UK. The UK generates over 10–12 million tonnes of scrap a year. We want to keep some of that in the UK and remake that into steel. So we need a lot done in the next kind of 2 years before that electric arc furnace is up and running and able to make steel.
That was an option for British Steel. Like Tata, it was offered hundreds of millions of dollars in government help to make that transition, but its Chinese owner, Qingyi, rejected that offer. With the government now in charge of British Steel, that's a possibility once again. By using electricity for power, arc furnaces can use renewable energy sources, and recycling a ton of steel saves 1.4 tonnes in iron ore and 0.8 tonnes of coal. That helps meet government targets for a lower carbon steel industry and construction company demand for greener steel.
What I want to see in the UK is a strong economy that needs a lot of steel, more steel than it needs at the moment, that we are supplying the vast majority of that steel, not just the 35% we supply at the moment to our domestic sector, that we have moved from some blast furnace production of steel in the UK to being 100% electric arc furnace powered by green electricity.
In the long term, the government wants to find a buyer for British Steel, but for that, investors will need to believe the UK is a place where steel can be made profitably. London is due to publish a steel strategy in the coming months, recognising domestic production of steel as essential for economic independence and national security.
But UK steel production has now fallen to its lowest level since the 1930s. The government has promised $3.4 billion to help bridge the investment gap and turn the tide for the industry, but private funds are needed in addition. A hard sell when the global trade regime is radically changing month by month. Stuart Smith, CNA, London.